Why do either of these girls want to be with Raj? He's a complete nightmare. Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be experiencing some 90s, 2000s nostalgia with a review of mujse dosti karoge. Now, full disclosure, I have a sweet spot in my heart for 90s and 2000s Bollywood rom-coms. The whole reason I even learned Hindi in the first place was because I wanted to know what Shah Rukh Khan was singing when he was singing to Kajol. Also, the music is amazing and everything the girls wore was super fashionable and is currently back in fashion. See evidence of crop tops and the Indian clothing that they wore. However, I do not like this movie. I have never liked this movie. This movie always confused me. I didn't understand why anybody liked Raj at all. One of my very close friends absolutely loves this movie. If she had to pick her favorite like old rom-com Bollywood movie, it would be this one, and I cannot for the life of me understand why. If you're planning on watching this movie again, don't. Just listen to the soundtrack and then watch the half of it on Netflix, because to be completely honest, that's probably a better adaptation than this is. Alright, without further ado, let's get into the plot and review. So as I said before, although it may come as a shock to some who assumed that every Bollywood movie is actually an original, like many a movie before and many a movie after, Mujse Dosti Karoge is actually an adaptation of an old play from like the late 1800s called Cyrano de Bergerac, which I'm probably saying wrong, which can be best summed up as mistaken identity shenanigans plus love triangle equals plot. Recent adaptations that you might have seen include Sierra Burgess is a Loser and The Half of It, which was... Our Desi version of the movie stars Hrithik Roshan as Raj, Naam To Suna Hoga, Rani Mukherjee as Pooja, and Kareena Kapoor as Tina. Okay, so plot. As kids, Raj had a huge crush on Tina and Pooja had a crush on Raj. Pooja knew that Raj liked Tina. Raj did not know that Pooja liked him. And I think, although I can't be bothered to check, that Tina knew that Pooja liked Raj. And that clears that situation up. So when Raj has to move to London for his parents' work because Yash Raj Films and I guess Karan Johar were kind of obsessed with people living in London, I think it's because they thought that people were classier there for some reason. Anyways, he asks Tina to write emails to him so that they can keep in touch. Tina forgets about it, she has other stuff to do, but Pooja does write to Raj, and at the last minute, she signs off as Tina instead, thinking that, oh, it'll, keep him happy that Tina kept her promise and this way I can still keep in contact with the boy I like. Over the years, Raj and Pooja become really close friends through their writing, but Pooja never lets on that she isn't Tina. When Raj comes back to India for a vacation as an adult, he claims that he is in love with Tina and that he can pick her out of the crowd. I.e., he's saying that he should be able to pick Pooja out based off of what she wrote him. But obviously when he meets Tina and Pooja, he looks to Tina instead, because he should still have a vague recollection of like her features, at least her eye color, from when they were kids. So obviously he's not going to think of Rani Mukherjee, but moot point. He does not notice Pooja. Basically, he falls for Tina's looks and he doesn't realize that she wasn't the one writing his emails. Even when he sort of thinks that like, oh, this Tina is not like the Tina I've been writing to, he's still into her because she's good looking, basically. This situation is honestly a mess and it is mostly Pooja's doing. I mean, she couldn't, over the span of 15 years, muster up the courage even once to tell him that she wasn't actually Tina. Like, I can understand that as a kid she might have had low self-esteem or been shy that he was her crush and not wanted to reveal the charade because she was worried that he would stop talking to her. But even as adults, after they had become friends on their own merit and not just the basis of like the childhood crush that they had, she should have been able to tell him. I don't think that we can really be upset at Raj for recognizing Tina and not Pooja. Also, I do find it a little weird that they were still kind of hung up on their childhood crushes. Who really gets married to the boy that they liked when they were 8? I totally understand feeling nostalgia over your crush and like being like, oh, I remember when I felt that way, and so you always feel like a little kind of when you see them because you remember the past. But unless there are literally no other boys wherever Pooja lives, and unless there are literally no other girls in London where Raj lives who are interested in them, I don't see how this worked. I mean, I guess I guess it's possible that since Pooja and Tina were friends, all of the guys who they knew naturally went to Tina instead, so that would explain it, but not for Raj. We know Ala Kabhi Khushi Kabhi Gum that he is a hot commodity. It's a different movie, but the point stands. People should be into him, and likewise, there's no way he should be hung up on a person in a different continent who he writes emails to who he's not in a relationship in. Anyways, Raj and Tina quickly get engaged very fast, even though Raj notices that Tina is different from the Tina who has been writing him emails. And Tina knows it was Pooja writing those emails. So now I'm kind of confused about Tina and Pooja's relationship. They're supposed to be best friends, basically sisters. Is Tina so interested in this one cute guy who shows attraction to her that she immediately just jumps onto the guy who she knows Pooja is into? They don't seem like very good friends. In Hamilton, when Angelica realizes that Eliza is into Hamilton, she steps aside for him. That's what sisters do. Like, Pooja doesn't actually say anything, but unless Tina is completely oblivious, she should be able to tell or read between the lines. Like, am I wrong? Also, how do Raj and Pooja become friends and he not get the slightest bit suspicious that, oh, this new old friend that I'm making, who is best friends with the girl who was writing me the emails, is also talking about stuff that we were talking about in those emails. Like, we have very similar interests. He's not the slightest bit suspicious that she was actually the one writing. Like, at this point, I think they're all just dumb. So Raj goes back to London and Pooja meets him when she goes there for an interview. They never actually say if she got the interview, and considering that she had to fly to a different country to get it, I would assume that she was in the final rounds. But apparently, you know, your dream job in a different country doesn't matter, whatever. All that matters is you get the guy and you get married. Due to Pooja humming a song that Raj introduced to her in an email, he finally realizes that she was the one he was emailing the entire time. Which doesn't really make sense because when you think about it, if all of the other things didn't make it click, why is it that this did? I mean, theoretically, Tina could have introduced that song to her and just been like, oh, it's something Raj shared. Or it's like that's the final breaking point alongside everything else. To be completely honest, this scene confused the crap out of me, and it took me until literal adulthood to understand that he recognized her because of the song. Anyways, the two of them get together while he's still engaged to Tina, without telling Tina who he's engaged to. However, when Tina's dad, her only living parent, dies, Pooja's parents want to fulfill his last request and get Tina married to Raj. Raj wants to tell them about him and Pooja, understandably, but Pooja is worried about Tina, so she wants him to marry Tina. Raj gets angry at her and tells her that he'll only marry Tina if Pooja also marries someone on the same day. This is a mess. They literally could have called Tina once they got together so that this situation didn't happen. First of all, Raj deliberately cheated on Tina instead of just having a conversation with her, and Pooja participated in this cheating on of her best friend. It's not written anywhere in the movie, but considering how that friendship dynamic goes, I have to wonder if Pooja wasn't just the slightest bit like smug that she finally won over Tina, and that's why she didn't tell her, and that's why she felt guilty and wanted Raj and Tina to get married when Tina's dad died. This is complete speculation, but I feel like it's the truth. Also, last I checked, Tina isn't a child. Just because her dad died doesn't mean that she now needs a husband to take care of her. It's weird that they wanted her to get married so quickly after her dad died. Let her grieve. Let her process this first. And finally, what the actual hell, Pooja? Why should he get married to somebody he doesn't love and doesn't want to get married to? Marriage is literally a lifelong commitment, or in case of like Hinduism, a 7 lives long commitment. Why would you do that? Why would you want him to get married to someone who he doesn't love? Honestly, all 3 of them should have just stayed apart and done some growing up because none of them are mature enough to be in relationships. It is at this point of the movie where I grow to hate Raj entirely and not want him to be with either of the girls. So Raj's friend Rohan has a thing for Pooja. Despite Pooja not being interested in Rohan at all, she agrees to get married to him so that Raj and Tina are gonna get married. So now they've pulled an innocent person into this situation. Rohan becomes aware of the situation between Raj and Pooja but is still okay with it, probably hoping that eventually she'll fall for him. During the pre-wedding events, Raj acts hella creepy and very sus around Pooja so that even the most oblivious person would be able to tell that there's something going on between the two of them. Tina realizes that Pooja and Raj are in love and she decides not to go through with the wedding because Pooja is wearing Raj's heirloom bangles, which he would have only given his soon-to-be spouse. Also, there's a super cringe scene where at the wedding that almost happens, Raj accidentally knocks over some sindoor onto Pooja's head, and it's like, oh, look, it's a sign that they're supposed to be married. That trope has occurred in so many things that it just seems very cheesy to me now. Anyways, Raj and Pooja get married and Rohan just yeets, fucks off. Whatever, he's not important. He was literally only there to add some, you know, sprinkles of tension. If you want to know how I feel about the second male non-starter lead in a love triangle, you can watch my wedding planner video because it's gonna be the same stuff. He was not even an option for her because she was already into Raj. I like the actor, he's nice. He was in Mohabbatein and Dhoom, so I like him. This movie is honestly kind of whack. Nobody's relationships seem realistic or make any kind of sense. And people's reactions to events don't make any kind of sense either. They got too angry when they shouldn't have, and they didn't get angry when they should have. Honestly, of the four, I think that Rohan was the only one who was emotionally mature enough to really consider marriage. The other three, Raj, Pooja, and Tina, made me feel like an old lady trying to teach some youngsters life lessons. Raj and Pooja get married, but I feel like the after the happy ending is not going to be very happy because they're both going to be internally holding the events of this movie against each other forever. Pooja that Raj picked Tina over her initially, and that Raj was with Tina for a while, and Raj that Pooja literally lied to him for like 15 years and pretended to be Tina, and that she wanted him to get married to somebody else. These things don't just go away after the end of the movie. They just don't talk about it. So yeah, that was my review. I hope you liked it. If you liked this video, please leave a like down here. If you want to watch more of my content, subscribe to my channel, also down here, and you can click on my channel name and watch the rest of my videos. I have some other film reviews, I do TV reviews, I also am planning some lifestyle content that's coming out in a bit. So yeah, thanks for watching. Bye!